we kept coming up with a lot of um, compliments on your guys' intake. And so I kind of wanted to dive in here because a lot of times we talk about marketing, we talk about billboards and digital and PPC, but I was just wondering if you could kind of touch on the intake at your firm. How do you look at it? Is it an all in-house thing? Do you use a strategic partner? Tell me a little bit about your intake and what makes it really thrive.
So yeah, we handle intake in-house 100%. And I have really been nitpicky on everything that goes down, right? So from how long it takes us to answer the phone, I even am on top of that, right? It shouldn't be more than 3 to 4 rings. You got to answer that phone. And it's not just about answering the phone. How are you answering the phone? How are you presenting yourself? You're the first person that this person is going to talk to. Are you talking in some monotone voice, or are you presenting yourself as somebody who is happy to talk to that person, ready to talk to that person, ready to help, right? I even go as far as looking to see if it's a case that we turn down. How long did you spend with that person? You got to spend at least 10 minutes with that person on the phone to really understand, is it something we want to take on or not? And if it's not, we really got to explain to them why. We'll randomly listen to recordings. I even go as far as sometimes I'll just pick up my cell phone and just call the number and see how long did it take you to pick up the phone and what did you sound like when you answered. But it's a constant building. It's constantly adapting to who can really take on a call in the office, and really just reviewing and learning with them, right? It's a constant training process with the intake team.
Yeah, and I kind of like to drill down even further, and thank you for that. I like the tonality, the answering with intention, the quickness. I mean, that even helps a Google screen. And I was talking to an attorney earlier today, and I was curious myself because, I've been doing this for several years, but I just don't know, like how many intake people do you need? Obviously the answer is it depends, right, on the type of calls you're getting. But for example, if you're getting 400 to 800 calls, like what's the size of a good intake team? And then also, how do you think about 24/7 coverage? I mean, you got people staffed at night, early in the morning, or is it going to like a strategic partner? And I'm just really trying to get all the information to really give our audience the most value I can.
Right. So look, in the beginning, we did have one intake person, and obviously they couldn't take on every call and they couldn't answer 24 hours a day. So we did have a third party answering service that was helping us out, and we gave them a script of what to say, what to ask, and essentially from there we continued to develop our script until we brought everything, made the decision bringing it in house. Currently, yeah, we do have somebody that's manning the phones 24 hours a day, and that person is dedicated in-house in this firm. They don't work with anybody else, right? We don't have any third-party answering services or anything like that at this time. But look, when you're starting out, that might not be possible, right? You're going to have somebody who's answering that phone 24/7, and having a strategic partner that's a third-party answering service is great. A lot of people have done it, and you should do it when you're starting out. The number of people that you're going to have on your intake staff is really, you're going to get a lawyer answer. It depends, right? It depends on what's your call volume, right? And you really need to understand, well, when are your calls coming in, right? How many people am I getting a lot of calls at 11 p.m. or are my calls coming in, at 11 a.m.? When I started out, in addition to having that third-party strategic partner, I was taking the calls myself, right? So I didn't have staff, so I was the one that was doing. I was the intake team. I was the lawyer. I was everything. So I was really able to not only develop my script for that third-party company that we use, but then develop my script for the in-house team, but also then to understand, when do I need more team members, right? Here in our office, we don't get too many calls late at night. The greater majority of our calls come early morning and midday. So we have beefed up our staff and other members of the office are also trained on how to take an initial call intake. So we have the people that are going to screen the call, and once an intake person is ready, they'll transfer the call up over to them perhaps, and finish closing it out.
Yeah, thank you for the details on that. I think I haven't really dove in and got those specifics right, and people talk about just in-house or outsourcing kind of binary, but they don't talk about things like script and when the call volume's coming in. And I think those are just things that have to be taken into consideration. And then also like the E-Myth revisited, right? You're the technician, you're the manager, the owner, and you're wearing all these hats at the beginning.
Yeah, but that's how it develops, right? I mean, data is king, right? But there's nobody better to digest that data than whoever's leading the firm, right? If it's your firm, you got to know what that data is. But what better way to do it than to dive right in, right? Take those calls, figure out, well, when are my calls coming in? What sources are best for my marketing dollars? And start putting your attention towards that, right? Am I getting more premise liability cases, or am I getting more auto cases? Why? Why am I doing it? So when you're doing it, when you're starting out, there's nobody better to do it than yourself, as opposed to having a strategic partner and having them take everything on, right? You're the one that's going to want to do it, learn it first, and then pass it on to a strategic partner. Have them as your backup when you're not available, but definitely get in there yourself so you truly understand what's going on and how to train the staff that you're eventually going to